Falling in love requires two things. The first thing it requires is the heart, all right? And this is Harry the Heart over here to represent this. When you meet someone for the first time and there's just that chemistry, it's almost like the world ceases to exist around you and you just click with one another. That is where the heart is really in alignment. You're not only physically attracted to them, but you seem to be emotionally attracted. Well, that's the first thing. The second part of falling in love is the brain. And this is, welcome to Bury the Brain. Now, Bury the Brain has a very, very different function. Bury the Brain is there to tell you, is the relationship going to actually work out? Do you have common interests? Do you have a similar vision on where you want to go in life? Does it actually make sense? Or are you in like a 2,000-mile long distance relationship where neither of you ever plan on living near each other? Both of these two things are absolutely required when it comes to falling in love, not only making someone fall in love with you, but also falling in love with someone else. So in this video right now, I'm gonna be giving you 7 tools that you can use to not only appeal to a man's heart, but also appeal to his brain. And these are 7 things that will make a man fall deeply in love with you. And this is all part of the Sexy Confidence Club relaunch. I'm so excited. The community has been absolutely incredible. The comments I've received from all of you, and you've been taking so much action. You've been going out, actually implementing the advice that I've been talking about in these videos. The comments have been incredible. We've had hundreds of thousands of women who are part of this launch, and I can't be more grateful. So thank you for being a part of this. And this is really my gift back to you to talk about how the brain, how a man's brain and how his heart is really interacted. So what we're gonna do is walk into the studio right now where I'm gonna give you the 7 things that you can do to make a man fall deeply in love with you. And I'm gonna relate to both of these. So I'll see you in the studio right now. All right, so welcome to the Sexy Confidence Whiteboard, where I work with the Sexy Confidence Club members and coach them through a number of different concepts that help them with their love life. So as part of this launch, I'm gonna walk you through the 7 things that make a man fall deeply in love with you. And remember, we got the 2 different guys. We got Harry the Heart, we got Bury the Brain, baby. And I'm gonna walk you through each one of these. So let's start with Harry the Heart. The first thing, this is a heart-focused thing that makes a man fall in love with you, is confidence. So I'm gonna use the red marker, of course, for heart. Number 1 is confidence. Here's the thing about confidence is most women assume when I say, oh, just be confident, most women have this kind of vision in their mind that confidence means that you walk up to a guy at a bar, slip him your number, give him a little bit of wink and walk away and just wait for him to come to you, right? Now, that is a certain type of confidence, but just being bold and daring and walking into a social environment and doing something like that is really only one component. And in many ways, that's actually a very masculine level of confidence, which is kind of putting yourself out there and approaching a guy. What I'm talking about with this type of confidence, and by the way, more than welcome to do that, but I teach a very different type of confidence, which is being a high value woman. And this means HVW. And this means that when you are in a conversation with someone or when you are in a relationship with someone, you actually value yourself in that relationship. You believe in the deepest part of your being that you deserve love and you deserve to be treated really well. And if someone's not giving it to you, if they are not treating you like a high value woman, you walk away from that situation. And that actually raises your value in a man's mind because he's going to see you as this prize that he needs to win over. And if he doesn't treat you right, he's gonna lose you. That is where confidence truly comes in, and that's really the foundation of Sexy Confidence when I started all of this. Back 10 years ago when I started coaching men on how to meet you women, I realized that men were just magnetically drawn to this type of confidence, and I realized that I had to stop coaching men, immediately start helping women because this was such a powerful concept that no one was really talking about. All right, so now let's jump into concept number 2 that makes a man fall in love with you, and this actually falls into the Bury the Brain category, and that is, of course, we'll use the blue marker so we know. Number 2 is compatibility. Okay? A lot of people think about making a man fall in love or finding the right type of relationship, and they are too heart-centric. But the reality is that if you're not compatible, if you don't have the same type of vision for your life, it's not going to work. For example, let's say you met a guy and he sees you as a high value woman and you are just really connecting and you have all the other things I'm going to talk about in this video, but You live 1,000 miles away from each other and neither of you will ever move because both of you have children or you have jobs where it's just never going to work. You're just not compatible, right? Like the brain is just not in alignment with the heart. And sure, you might try to patch it up and might try to make things work, but in the long term, it's just going to fall apart. So you want to make sure when you're going out and meeting new people that you're starting out with people who are generally compatible with what it is that you ultimately want in a relationship. For example, if you are Christian, if you're an evangelical Christian, you don't want to be just going out to the bar and meeting random guys because chances are you will not meet a guy who's an evangelical Christian, right? I happen to not be religious. So for me, I didn't really want to be with someone who would be an evangelical Christian because we wouldn't really click. There's no judgment there. It's just that we don't have the same type of religious values. And these are the things you want to be really thinking about are what are the most important things you look for in compatibility? And really actually write those things down. If you don't want to have children, if you've decided in your life children are off the table. You can have every single thing in this video. You can have the right type of confidence. But if he wants to have children and you don't, it's not going to work out. So this is a really important component of all of this. Now let's go back to Harry the Heart, which is the third thing that makes a man fall deeply in love with a woman. And this is a very heart-centered component of all this. And that is vulnerability. Earlier this year, I was a dating coach on a show called Kate Plus Date. It was on TLC, and I worked with Kate Gosselin to help her find love. Now, if you ever had watched Kate Plus 8, the show that she was on previously, you'd probably realize that Kate was a pretty tough nut to crack. And when I sat down with her on television for the first time as her dating coach, the first thing I realized was that she was lacking total vulnerability. She was not opening her heart at all. She literally had this hard layer wrapped around her that just like I could not get through. And actually on the show, I say that she has what I call black heart syndrome. Here's a quick clip showing what happened. You have what I call, and I work with a lot of women, it's called black heart syndrome, okay? You've been burned, but you're a lovely, amazing person, and all we need to do is get you to red heart syndrome, which is just being finally open to the potential possibility of finding love. So as you can tell, it didn't go over too well on that first meeting, but by the end of the show, she was really starting to open up, not just to me, but to her dates that she was going on. Because look, she's had kind of a tough experience in her life. If you don't know her story, she had 8 children with a guy, John, and she had a brutal, very public divorce. And it was an incredibly painful experience for her and for her family, and this caused her to close off. And chances are you've gone through something similar in your life, especially if you're single, over the age of 30. We've all had rough heartbreaks in our life, and it can cause us to kind of close down. But what I'm here to tell you is just like I did with Kate, and just like you can do, you can actively work on this. As someone starts to earn your trust and shows you that they are there for you and they want to listen and they want to invest, as a guy shows you he wants to invest more energy in you, it is your job as well to start opening your heart to him a little bit and actually share those parts of you that might not be so perfect. Because in many ways, the way two humans actually connect are through their imperfections. It's when someone actually shares something about themselves that is not quote unquote perfect, that's where someone really connects. It's not through their Instagram story or anything like that where it shows this perfect vision of who they are. So I want you to think about yourself. I mean, how hard is that shell that you have around you? I mean, can you just kind of knock it through and allow a guy to kind of see what's going on the inside, or does he need like a freaking hammer or a jackhammer to get through that? Start thinking about kind of what walls do you actually put up early on in a relationship, and where are some opportunities for you to just share some sides of you that may not necessarily be that perfect. I'd love to hear from you in the comments if you struggle with vulnerability. I'm here to help you through this. So let's continue on with the 7 things that make a man fall in love with you, and this is part of the bury the brain category, and this is, let me jump right into it. Number 4 is independence. I've always said it, no man wants a life with you unless you have an incredible life without him. When a guy is single, he has total freedom. He can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants to do it, and so do you, of course. But once you start getting into a relationship, there's this tendency to want to spend all of your time together. And that's good, and that means that you actually are starting to fall in love with one another, and you have all these incredible endorphins and norepinephrine running through your veins because you just are falling for one another. But what I ask you to do is continue with this independence and create that space with each other, that healthy amount of space. And don't do it because you're playing games or want him to feel jealous or you're trying to make him miss you or anything like that. Do it because you are an independent person. I don't believe that when you get into a relationship, you create a hole. When you get into a relationship, that relationship should really just supplement your already incredible life that exists right now. And that's a lot of what I teach in the Sexy Confidence Club, is creating that incredible life that attracts a great person, rather than focusing all of your energy on your love life. So independence is incredibly powerful, and it tends to magnetically draw men in and want them to spend more time with you. So if you find that when you're in a relationship that you become very dependent or even codependent on that relationship, take a hard look at that. And if you find it's codependence, then you may want to take a look at therapy, because there could be a lot of things that are going on in the background there from your childhood that's causing you to be codependent. So a really important component of falling in love. Now let's jump to number 5, which is, once again, heart focused, which is physical attraction, okay? Physical attraction. So some of you ladies out there might not say that this is either heart or head focused. This might be focused somewhere else. But I am here to tell you that physical attraction is a component of how someone actually falls in love with you. And let me tell you this one thing. I've worked with a lot of men in the past when I used to coach men on how to meet women just like you when I was a dating coach for men. And I've worked with a lot of smart, successful men who can attract a lot of women. And they do not just go for the perfect bodies, the perfect models, or anything like that. That is not physical attraction. Instead, what they tend to go for are women who have just that aura about them, that vibe that they really connect with, who just have that positive energy about them. And I've seen men time after time after time pass up women who might be perfect on paper, and they'll pass them up for a woman who is not quite as perfect, but just has that great energy about her. And they will do that time and time again. So rather than focusing all your energy on your hair, your makeup, your clothes, all that stuff, instead focus on your body language and how to charm a guy when you meet them for the first time. Now that I think about it, that's one of the courses in the Sexy Confidence Club. It's called the Feminine Charm Code, and that's one of the courses you get when you check it out for free. So I would check that out as well, because I think you might enjoy that. Now let's go back to Bury the Brain, which is number 6. Number 6, which is trust. Stephen Covey has a famous quote that says, "Trust is the glue of life." It's what holds together all relationships. And forgive me if I'm botching that a little bit. I'm doing that off the top of my head. But what I'm here to tell you is that without trust, no relationship can really work. And if you talk to any guy who has dated or been in relationships, they have had moments in their life where trust has been broken, just like probably you have as well. And no man is going to commit his life to a woman that he doesn't trust. So if you find yourself in relationships where there's not so much trust there, maybe a guy doesn't trust you, maybe you can adopt some of the principles I adopted. I remember back when I was 24, I started doing a lot of self-reflection on my life and how I treated people in relationships. This is over 10 years ago. And I kind of came up with this mantra, and it's very simple, and it is like this. It says, never lie and don't be sketchy. All right? Never lie and don't be sketchy. These are principles that every man should apply to his life, but also every woman should apply to her life. The moment you stop lying in any relationship you're in is the moment that you're finally free to be who you truly are. And it can be actually very difficult to stop lying. Even just micro lies that might make things a little bit easier in the short term, but in the long term can really break trust. And as for don't be sketchy, if you're doing something that you know your partner, your boyfriend, your husband would not like you to do if they knew you were doing it, then you're being sketchy. Just don't be sketchy. And it's incredible what happens once you just adopt these simple principles into your life. And just be a fundamentalist about these two things. Don't lie and don't be sketchy, and you'll be able to build a relationship on trust. And finally, last but not least, let's bring back the heart to this conversation, which is number 7. And this is one of the most powerful concepts you can learn, and that is being youthful. All right? Now, when I say the words youthful, for all those women out there that I typically work with who are over the ages of 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and beyond, quite frankly, believe it or not. I'm not saying that you have to be young. Notice I'm saying young. I have met plenty of women who are 21 years old, and they are very old women. When you meet them, they are just old souls, and they don't like to have fun, they have no positive energy about them, and they go on a date, and it's almost like it is a business interview with that person. Then I have met women who are in their 60s or 70s and just walk down the street and are having the best time of their life, and they're almost skipping as they kind of walk down the street because they just have so much great energy about them. And when they go on a date, they're willing to kind of take that weird impulsive decision to go into that dive bar that they've never really been into and go play some pool and just have fun with their life. And what I'm here to tell you, and I want to kind of wrap this whole thing up on this one note, and the reason why this is so heart-centric is that men want to be around a woman who energizes them. They want to be around a woman who makes them feel young again. And I think we both want that, right? Chances are you're here right now because you want to be with a guy who makes you feel young again. And ultimately, falling in love is just an emotion. And the best way to bring out that emotion is by being youthful, is being young again, is by just having fun again. Dating should be fun. And if dating isn't fun right now, it's time to just take a break, okay? And reconnect with the young side of who you are and connect with things that bring out passion and excitement, which is actually why in the Sexy Confidence Club, I've started releasing content that's for women who are actually just focused on their self-love. Because I've noticed that while we're getting out there and finding love and trying to attract true love, sometimes it requires us to take a break from finding love so that we can reconnect with the things that really matter. So there you have it. There are the 7 things that make a man fall in love with you. All right, so now clearly I've given you the 7 ways to be able to make a man fall deeply in love with you. And you know the importance of appealing to both the heart and the brain, the man's head, to be able to really connect with someone. And you want the same, right? You want to be able to find a relationship that has both of these. Because what you'll find, and I've certainly experienced this myself, is if you're in a relationship that is all heart and no brain, you're going to find that there's a ton of passion in the relationship, but it's going to be fraught with arguments and problems in the relationship. Have you ever been in those relationships where it just seems like nothing is clicking and you seem to just have so much friction at every single step of the way? That is a relationship with all heart and no brain. On the other hand, you don't want a relationship that's all brain and no heart. This is the type of relationship where you meet someone and it is just like, that person looks perfect on paper. For you sexy single ladies, maybe you meet a guy who just like, he's got a great job, great 401k, he really wants a family, his family is great, your friends all love him, but you just don't have that passion. That is a relationship with all brain, and you don't want that either, because what's going to happen in the end is you're going to have a passionless marriage. You don't want that. So ultimately, you want to find a relationship with both of these 2 things, and that's what I'm here to do. I'd love to guide you through this process. I'd love for you to be a part of the Sexy Confidence Club. We have thousands of women joining it right now as we speak, and all of it is designed to help you manage this process of using both your head and your heart to be able to find the love of your life. So thank you so much for being a part of this incredible community and being a part of this incredible launch. You all have blown me away so much. I look forward to seeing you in the next video or of course in the Sexy Confidence Club. Thank you so much for watching. I'll speak to you very soon, you sexy single lady. Bye-bye.